Well, hi there. So in this video, we're going to be doing some practice with the monetary policy under ample reserves, which is called changing administered interest rates. So let's get started. Okay, so this one's going to look pretty similar to the first practice set. And really what we're going to first do is identify, are we in an expansion or recession? They're probably pretty similar. And then should we raise or lower administered interest rates? So if the economy is above full employment output, we're in an expansion. We would want to lower administered interest rates. That's totally screwed it up. The very first thing I said was wrong. We would want to raise administered interest rates. Therefore, the interest rate would go up. Therefore, consumption and investment would go down. Aggregate demand would go down, and we fix the problem. If the economy has cyclical unemployment, we're in a recession, so we want administered rates to go down. If potential is greater than actual, we are in a recession, so we want the administered interest rates to go down. Again, I'm just going to put this here so that you have it. I am struggling with these. Therefore, the interest rate would go down. Therefore, consumption and investment would go up. And therefore aggregate demand would go back up. So it's really just the mechanism by which it works, right? I want you to be able to see it. If the economy is below full employment output, we're in a recession, so we want to lower the administered rates. Actual unemployment is less than the NRU. That's an expansion. We want to raise the administered rates. And if full employment is bigger than the equilibrium, we know we're in a recession, and so we want to lower administered interest rates. Let's take a look at these two here. In an ample reserves policy, what should they do in a recessionary gap? So in a recessionary gap, they should lower administered, and this is going to be it, guys. You got to remember how to write this out. Administered rates. That's going to cause the policy rate to go down. That makes consumption go up, aggregate demand go up, and then output would return back to full employment. For an expansionary gap, we want to raise administered rates. Administered rates. And we call them administered rates because it's easier than saying the central bank should raise the discount rate and the interest on reserves rate, right? That's a mouthful. So we just say administered rates because the Fed gets to actually set those two. The policy interest rate would then rise, the consumption would fall, aggregate demand would fall, and output would fall back to full employment. So hopefully these kind of flowchart things help you out a little bit as well. Let's look at this balance sheet. It's the same balance sheet as before. How much in excess reserves does this bank hold if the central bank sells 5,000 in bonds? So this is selling bonds. We know that they're operating in a limited reserves framework, right? So this is a limited reserves policy when they sell bonds. How much do they now have? They have zero, right? They went to zero. And so this one becomes 10,000. So there's that one. How much in total reserves does the bank hold? $10,000. How much in liabilities? Same. What's the immediate change in the money supply from the bond sale? $5,000 decrease. And the maximum possible change in money supply. Well, if they had been able to lend that money out and they had chosen to lend it out, that would have been 5,000 times the money multiplier of 5 is 25,000. So in this case, we'd say 5,000 times 5 equals 25,000, but now it's decreasing it by that much, right? So again, how did we know that that money multiplier was 5? Money multiplier is 1 over 0.2 equals 5. If an individual had withdrawn 5,000 in cash from their demand deposit, would the maximum change in money supply be larger, smaller, or the same? Well, it's going to be smaller, just like before, smaller, because the 20% required reserves applies to deposits. So the supply of money change is equal to 4,000 times 5 is equal to $20,000. So kind of showing that decrease here because the change in money supply would only be the $4,000 as a result from the fact that they aren't able to lend out that 4,000 of excess reserves that came from that cash. So again, thinking through what's going to be the implication of withdrawals and deposits. Hopefully this helped you with thinking about what tool we should use in an ample reserves framework. I'll see you next time.